And she told me, she said, that's the same thing that our kids would tell you. If you're going to find out, you got to ask the teachers. The teachers are the ones that tell you how they're doing, not the students. And I must have, while talking to her, I must have written in the back of an envelope, must have had our mail, and I wrote down about 4 or 5 things that I would want to know. Are they attending class regularly? Are they attentive in class? Number 2. Number 3, do you have a grade level that they are performing to? And 4, is there someone that you would recommend that would help these students achieve an improvement in the grade for your course? And then I left the bottom of the page pretty empty, and if you want to write any other comments, by all means, anything that you think would help us to understand these young men and women, and so on. In those days, I didn't have to worry about women. This was in '64. And so now, and I told Father, I said, so I went in. Now I went in with some ammunition. I had an envelope with a few questions to ask. So I walked in after Pat said Father Joyce wanted to see me. I go upstairs and I sit across from him. And then you had to know Father Joyce, as I did. He'd sit at this big desk. I have the desk now downstairs. He gave me his desk and chair when he moved into the new library. Anyway, I walk in. I get what the hell am I talking about now?
You went into Father Joyce's office.
Oh, I went into Father Joyce's office. I knew what it was going to be. He's there with what looked like half moons. I don't know if you've seen these glasses where, you know, down here you could read and you look over them if you don't need glasses. I walk into the office and then he comes in. Oh, Mike, come on in. Sit over here. And his desk, you can move a kind of a lever and it would give me a desk, you know, something that he said, he said, I thought you told me that Alan Page was doing. I said, Father, that's exactly what he told me. And there's no point in us sitting here and fencing each other, because as a fencer, I'm going to win. You're not going to beat me at fencing. He said, what do you mean? I said, I knew that you might ask me this. I discussed it actually with my wife, and she's the one that recommended that I should be asking the teachers and not the students to see how the kids are doing in class, and giving me hopefully the answers to what they must do in order to improve their performance. Mm-hmm. And if they're doing something irregular that they should be reprimanded for, I'll take care of that too. For instance, there were kids who were missing class, and I mean missing class, like haven't been there for 3 or 4 or 5 times. I want that son of a gun to sit opposite me to tell me what the hell so important that he can't go to class. Anyway, so, and I told him so, and then I told him what I had done. I said, on the back of this envelope, I think that I've got some, and I read these 4 items that I was going to ask him. I said, and if you give me the okay, I will hire someone or 2 or 3, depending on how these responses come in, and we'll read the last one. Those that need help, they'll get the help immediately. Those that don't need help, I'll tell them that they're doing fine and so on, and go from there. He did it. He agreed right off the bat. I made some points by giving him. So I won the fencing match with him, and he says, "Well, why don't you try it and let's see what happens?" I said, "Father, before." Oh, so we did that. And sure enough, I go downstairs. We design something. We brand them off. We had a registrar give us a copy of everybody's schedule, and then we pull out all the names of the football players and basketball players, and I put, and a lot of them were in the same classes. They were freshmen. They were taking some kind of a math course, a science course, English course, this course, that course. And we sent them out, and they'd come back. And some of them would come back. Someone asked me just recently, I guess maybe somebody had asked me the same question that you did. I must have gotten back the equivalent of about a third. If I sent out 100 of those damn things, only about 30 would come back. Maybe more, a little more than 30, especially in freshman year. And there were a couple of people that didn't respond. Remember, I was a professor too at the time, and I knew some of these professors. Some of them I had lunch with, and at lunch I'd say, "Walter, how come you didn't respond to that questionnaire I sent to you?" "Oh, is that you, Mike?" I said, "Yeah, didn't you read it?" He said, "Well, I read the beginning of it and I just threw it the hell out." "Why did you throw it out?" "Well, the question had to do with telling somebody some grade of one of the students in my class. Once they did that, I threw it out." He said, "I don't think the grade I'm going to give or the grade a kid's making in my class is anybody's business but the student." I said, "Yes, but if we don't know the student needs to have help, how are we going to respond and get the help that he needs?" He said, "Well, he should know, or. So I immediately went back and saw Father Hesburgh and Father Joyce. And I told them, I said, "I need your help. There are a number of professors that don't feel that they need to respond. And no matter what the hell I say to them, they're not going to respond. I think that what you should do, or what we should do, the three of us, is to see the deans of the colleges and have them talk with the department chairman, and have the department chairman talk to their faculty and say, hey, if any of you receive this questionnaire, it'll take a few minutes, but we'd like to have you respond and see how and what we can do to help improve the academic performance of the student." Well, we got that done, and maybe the response percentage went up maybe half again. So maybe we only got a half to 2/3 response. There's still some stubborn bastards that just did not want to respond. They're faculty people that feel the way they do. I'm not. What am I supposed to do? Discipline them? I'm going to discipline the kids who need the help and go with whatever happens with anybody else. Except that I've made a list of all those that don't respond. Because I want to know what they do the next session, or with another class, or so on and so forth. And sure enough, there are some that are just, bastards, Anyway, the long and short of it is, and then there are some that would be, I would not even have kids take their class. Because they're really, if they're not going to tell me, and if the kid doesn't ask them, who are they going to tell?
That's right.
You know? Most kids won't even ask their prof. They'll figure they know how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't tell the truth to the academic advisor, how is anybody going to know? Anyway, so back and forth we learned a lot in the first year. We didn't learn everything, but we did learn enough to, not necessarily trust the students. So you need to find out what students would be honest enough to tell you the truth. Number two, students that may be really over their heads. They don't know what it takes to be a doctor, and they're taking organic chemistry, and they're taking this and not doing well. You know, so you're an advisor, a academic advisor. You're just an advisor as well, and so the job begins to take on a life of its own. After a while, I've got professors working for me. There are people that I had a professor in psychology that offered some great help. He died just recently, but he was a tremendous help to us. Father Sheedy, who was then the dean of the College of Liberal Arts, he recommended something that I should do when we were setting up our program. They said, you ought to call so-and-so. I've forgotten his name. He died just a few years ago. He said, psychologically, there's a way of studying. I said, I'm an engineering student that didn't. Polly, Nick is. What's she got? And so he offered some real good suggestions. He said students you ought to bring it to their attention that they ought to create an area where that's their study hall, their study area. I know that you have study sessions. You know, everybody's having some problem in math. Well, get them all together, get a good math tutor and have them take an additional math course, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week outside of the classroom, and learn things that they would learn from the tutor that they wouldn't feel to ask a professor for fear that the professor will think they're stupid. And so that was a thing that we did.
And that was Father Sheedy.